All right, we got a 2003 or 2004 Honda Element. It's losing coolant slowly. Probably a quarter of a gallon every probably a few weeks or so, and it's dripping out of the radiator. So we're gonna go ahead and put a radiator in this thing and get it buttoned back up. So we'll follow along here, and I'll show you how to put a radiator in a Honda Element. So the first thing I did here is take out this grill, and what it has use a viewfinder here. It's got 3 of these on the top and 3 on the bottom. It's these clips, and you can either get yourself a pair of these. Most tool stores have them. Harbor Freight has them real cheap, and they kind of go in here like this, and then you push up on it, and it pulls it right out. Or if you don't have these, you can use a pair of dikes or a pair of, or just a screwdriver and pull it up. You probably don't have to pull this out, but I like to see what I'm doing when I work on it. So I went ahead and pulled this out of the way. You can see here's the top of the radiator, and then we'll go to work on taking this top panel off where the hood release is at and all that good stuff. All right, so you got several 10mm bolts. You got 2 here. There's 2 over there, and then you actually have the 2, there's 4, 2 on each side for the radiator to hold it in. And then you have the hood release, which we're not going to take that off. I think we should be able to get this off and lay it off to the side without taking this off completely. So you'll just take off these 4. Actually, one missing on this car, on this side. This car, I think, has been in a little bit of an accident at some point or another. Anyway, I'll get my Milwaukee, and we'll get these 2 out here, and then this should move out of the way. All right, so you got the 4 that actually hold the radiator into the support. It's 4 10mm. This side again is missing a bolt, so there's only 3 on this particular car. It's supposed to be 4 though. And what you're taking off is this right here. This goes on the frame, and then this goes up into the radiator. So this is all you're doing. You're just taking this off. Now this should must be something else holding this in. I'll have to find it. I'm going to say that should pop right off, but really I'm wrong, so I'll find that. I'll let you know. Alright, so I got this thing out. What it is, there's a few wiring harnesses that are plugged into it. Not plugged in, but the connectors are going into it. And then there's a bolt down low. You have to take this shield off down here. Little undercarriage shield. Honda's very proud of that. It's got about 20 of those push clips in there. So you just do the same thing with that as you did with the radiator if you're taking that out. Or not the radiator, but the grill there. So anyway, it's out. So I'm just going to kind of set it off to the side here. There's no reason to take that off and do all that. I mean, it's not a big deal if you would, but so anyway, that's out of the way. So I'm going to go ahead. There's once you get that shield off, you'll see the drain petcock for the radiator. I'm going to go ahead and start draining it, and we'll take off this hose. Just get yourself either the hose remover, or you can get some channel locks or whatever, however you want to get those off. Remove this, and there's some 10mm here for the fans and stuff. So we're going to take this bottle out, this hose, and start getting these fans off. And then you also have your AC condenser that goes to the radiator. We'll have to address that eventually, but for now we're going to just take all these tins off, 10mm bolt off. There's a bunch of them up here, and get this upper radiator hose, get it draining, and start getting these fans up. Alright, so I misspoke earlier. This condenser is actually mounted separately from the radiator, which is nice, so we don't have to worry about separating the two. Like I said earlier, you hit 10mm bolts out, and then these radiators, once you pull them up, they have little nubs that go into the bottom. So there's nothing on the bottom to hold these in. You basically just have your 2 bolts for each fan, and then your electrical connection, which you just press in on. Now on this car, she said she was smelling a burning smell, or some kind of weird smell when she would turn the AC on. And I drove it for a few minutes. I didn't really smell it, but I didn't let it get too warm because it does need a radiator. Anyway, this is what I found on this. This is the condensing fan. This is the fan that comes on when you turn the AC on. It's your secondary auxiliary condensing type fan. And I don't know if you probably can't tell in the video, but it won't spin at all. It's jammed in. The fans are jammed into the housing, and what happened is, looks like the fan just broke loose from the mounting here and jammed itself up. Looks like it got so hot it was melted here. It jammed itself up away from the mounting, and now all the fans are jammed into here. And I think, actually, I'm surprised it didn't blow a fuse or something like that. But I think actually it was trying to run because it was still pretty warm when I pulled it out. So I think actually it didn't blow a fuse or anything. I think it was actually trying to run. It just couldn't because it's jammed up here. So that's what that smell was that they were smelling when they turned the AC on, is this thing was just getting hot and burning up. So of course nobody has it around here. We're going to have to order it. We'll get that and replace that. But anyway, back to the radiator. Got the upper radiator hose off. And if you look down in there, I don't know if I can get my light in there. I already took the lower radiator hose off. Just got the regular hose clamp on there. The compression hose clamp, that's off. So all I have left now is the 2 little automatic transmission cooling lines. Those are on with regular compression style hose clamps. So I'll go under there and pull those off, and then you should be able to pull this radiator straight out. You can see it's loose. So once we get those off, we should be able to pull this out and then put that new one in and start putting it back together, and hopefully should get the fan over here before we get done with it, so we can get it done today. So, all right, so the radiator's out. This is the point where you check and make sure what the new radiator comes with the old one. So we don't have the radiator temperature sensor on the new one, didn't come with it, or a radiator cap. So take a 24mm socket and go ahead and remove that, and then put that in the new one. And the new radiator did come with the extensions here for the transmission lines. I'm not sure if it came with the rubber feet. I'll have to check that. But just check it over and make sure that you change over any rubber you need to, and any sensors that you may need to. On the Element, it looks like it's just the radiator temperature sensor and possibly the feet on the bottom of this radiator. I'm not sure. I got to check that still. But so anyway, yeah, I'll just go ahead and transfer this over to the new radiator, and then we'll set that down in here and start putting everything back together. All right, so the new radiator did not come with these feet, rubber feet. So you got to pull this off the old radiator and put them on the new radiator. These are in still pretty good shape, so I don't feel bad about doing that. So anyway, yeah, we got to change the feet out. I got the sensor in. You'll pull these plugs out, and then you'll be ready to slide it back down in there and start bolting up. We'll put the trans lines on, the lower radiator hose, and all that good stuff, and get it from there. I don't know if you can see down there or not, but I got the transmission lines back on. The lower radiator hose is on right there, clamped on. Got the sensor back in, that's plugged back in. So everything underneath should be done. The only thing you want to do is make sure that your feet are in the radiator and that it's in the hole that's supposed to be in. It's pretty obvious when you're under there how it's supposed to go. So now we will start sliding these cooling fans back in and bolting those up. And she did get me a new one for this one, so we'll just take this one and throw that in the trash and slide these 2 fans in. Where they go, they got little slots down there. You'll see them once you get the radiator in and pull it back a little bit. There's 2 slots, and then you have the bolts up here that bolt them in. So we're going to slide those in and bolt them in, and then put the upper radiator hose on and start putting the same back together. All right, so both the fans are in. You got the 4 10mm bolts. They go down in those slots. You got the overflow, goes into a slot, 10mm bolt. Got the hose going to it, up radiator hose. Don't forget to plug your fan in, both fans in. Now we will put this support back in and put the other supports back in. And should be almost done. We'll have to put the grill back in. On this grill, you don't have to take that out. I took that out because I thought I was going to have to take the condenser off, but on these Hondas it's separate, so there's really no reason at all to take this grill out, so just skip that step. So yeah, anyway, move forward. Alright, so you get this set back up where it was supposed to be. You got that one bolt on the bottom you have to put in 10 mil. These are all 10 mil. Pretty much everything on this job is 10 mil. You put the two in here. There's two on each side, and then hook your wiring harnesses back in. You'll see these little clips right here. Just push those back in the holes, and that'll hold your wiring harness where it's safe. So anyway, those four, and then that one on the bottom, and then we'll almost be done. The only thing left we'll have is the radiator, the ones that hold the radiator in. Alright, so once you get this bolted back in, get your wiring harness plugged back in, get your radiator brackets back in, you're pretty much done. To fill it, I would fill it up until it's full, then start up, turn the heat on full blast, let it run, and fill it till it's full. These Hondas usually bleed out pretty quick on their own. Shouldn't be an issue. And then on this car, I got to put the grill back in, which is not a big deal. On your car, you shouldn't have to do that. Just don't take it off. And that's pretty much it for putting the radiator in a Honda Element. It's not too hard of a job. What's nice about these is the condenser's not attached to the radiator, so it makes it a little bit easier. And you know, once you get this brace out of the way, it's all pretty straightforward. So go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you're so inclined, and we'll see you on the next one.